My child, stop what you're doing. I need your full attention. This isn't another message. This is a divine announcement. Heaven has reached into your timeline to declare, your waiting period is over. I'm not speaking in riddles today. I'm speaking in revelation. What I say in the next few minutes will shift your life, if you dare to listen. So don't click away. Don't scroll. Don't let distraction rob you of what I scheduled for this exact moment. Watch until the very end, because every word is a key, every sentence a gate, and the final words carry a release your spirit can't afford to miss. I've hidden answers in this word that your prayers have been crying for. And by the time it ends, you won't just hear me. You'll know why I waited until now to speak it. Jay, listen. Because this is it. My beloved child, this is the voice of your Father, who has watched every silent battle, measured every tear that slipped down your cheek in the shadows, and has now stood to make a declaration in your favor. Hear me. Your waiting period is over. Not because you pushed hard enough, not because circumstances suddenly shifted, but because I, the Eternal One, have risen with purpose on your behalf. The delays that once mocked you, the stagnation that wrapped itself around your joy, the unanswered prayers that echoed through your nights, they have lost their authority to hold you. I have revoked the permission they once operated under. They served their season, yes. They taught, they shaped, they deepened your roots. But now, their time is done. What once pressed against you like a wall has now crumbled like dust beneath my breath. This isn't a pause. This is a pivot. A turning of spiritual tides, a realignment that cannot be reversed. I am not offering hints. I am making holy announcements. Heaven has sounded the trumpet and declared, release the fulfillment. Begin the unveiling. The wait is over. You've grown used to the rhythm of holding on, to the discipline of patience, the ache of expectancy. And yes, child, I love you in that waiting. I walked with you through the slow days, the quiet ones, the nights that seemed to stretch with no end. But what I am doing now is not just relief. It is restoration with recognition. I do not end a waiting season with silence. I end it with sound. The kind of sound that shifts dimensions and stirs the atmosphere around you. The tightness you felt in your chest lately, the urgency without a name, the pull that made you restless in your routine, it was me. I was stirring your spirit to hear what your ears were not yet prepared to comprehend. This announcement has been echoing in the spirit realm long before you heard these words. I spoke it first in the courts of heaven. I commanded angels to prepare. I realigned the timelines, removed what needed to be removed, and accelerated what had been paused. I've wrapped this moment in divine strategy. The atmosphere around you is no longer resistant. It's receptive. Your waiting was not a failure to move fast enough. It was the soil in which I buried the blueprint of your next season, allowing it to grow roots before it reached the surface. And now, child, the surface has cracked. The shoot is rising. The fruit of your faithfulness is about to bloom where everyone thought nothing was planted. The waiting was never wasted, but it is truly and undeniably over. My beloved child, I need you to breathe deep and let these words pierce through every doubt that's crept in during your waiting. I withheld the answer not to harm you, but to hold you in holiness. There was nothing wrong with your faith. You were not being punished. You were being protected. This timing was not rejection. It was refinement. I reserved this moment the same way a master vintner reserves the finest wine for the perfect occasion. It was not time yet, not because I wasn't listening, but because I was preparing. You asked me why the answer seemed so close, yet kept slipping away. And now I answer you plainly, it wasn't the blessing that was delayed. It was the environment that had to mature to hold the weight of what I planned for you. A fruit picked too early will rot in your hands, but a promise ripened in my fire will carry glory that cannot be taken. Do you understand, child? I wasn't ignoring your requests. I was insulating them from environments too immature, relationships too fragile, and mindsets too rushed to steward what I was forming. This isn't a small breakthrough. This is the kind that carries eternal weight. What I've wrapped in glory for you couldn't be handed to a heart still questioning its worth. That's why I pulled back. It's why I stayed silent. Not because you weren't enough, but because your spirit had to be calibrated to receive what only heaven could deliver. Your destiny is not flimsy. It's not fragile. It's fortified. And what I'm placing into your hands now will shift not only your life, but the lives connected to your obedience. The time I reserved is not some general opportunity thrown your way. It is the exact intersection of your development and my divine orchestration. This moment hath been marinating in heaven's timeline. And now it is ready. Now you are ready. Let me tell you something you didn't know. While you thought I was inactive, I was rerouting armies of angels. I was exposing motives. I was dissolving traps. I was crafting exit routes out of things you didn't even know would collapse. This breakthrough is not just a door. I have prepared a landscape. A wide open field drenched in opportunity that no man can take credit for. I didn't want you just to walk through. I wanted you to run without fear, to dance without shame, to stand in the middle of a miracle and say, "This had nothing to do with me. This is all my Father." I had to wait for the noise around you to quiet, for the weight within you to settle, for the clarity to rise like dawn over fog. And now look around you. Do you feel the air shifting? Do you feel the trembling in your spirit? That's not your imagination. That's divine activation. This moment was not born from pressure. It was born from precision. I delayed you to develop you. I held you still to harden the foundation. And now, what once felt like painful pause has become holy permission. You are released, child. Released into what fits you and only you. Released into what I authored with your name written across it in light. I did not deny you. I dignified you by making you wait for what was worthy. And now heaven has spoken. The hour I reserved for your rising has come. And no force on earth or in hell can undo what I am about to reveal through your life. Child, you've mistaken my silence for absence, but I was never gone. I was speaking in ways that words could not carry. I was training your ears to hear through atmosphere. I was breaking the dependency on noise so that when I truly moved, you would not require a trumpet blast. You would move at the whisper of my breath. The silence you feared wasn't the void. It was the veil. I was cloaking you in consecration. I was hiding you in plain sight. I watched as you stood under pressure with a quiet yes, with trembling lips and unwavering eyes. You didn't understand it, but you obeyed. You weren't praised for it, but you persisted. And that is what made you ready. Every time you chose me over clarity. Every time you prayed with no feedback, fasted with no confirmation, showed up with no applause, I took note. I counted every sacrifice. I bottled every tear. You see, child, the waiting wasn't wasted. It was sacred. I was planting weight into your soul so that the weight of my glory wouldn't crush you when it came. I had to thicken your spirit. I had to deepen your discernment. This wasn't about testing your patience. It was about stretching your spiritual capacity. Because what I am giving you now requires more than talent. It required depth. And child, you are deeper than you've ever been. That ache you feel, that pressing that once felt like punishment, it was me engraving wisdom into your bones. You didn't ask for that, but you needed it. And now hear me, because this is not a repeat of old cycles. This is not a roundabout season disguised in new colors. This is emergence. I don't just bring you out, I bring you forth. The preparation has reached completion. Heaven's seal has been broken. What was incubating in private is now being revealed in power. The garments of waiting are falling off you. I am dressing you in garments of manifestation. The humility you built in secret will now be the platform upon which I demonstrate my power publicly. This preparation wasn't punishment. It was a prophecy in disguise. Every not yet was actually me saying, hold on, I'm building something better. You didn't fail during the silence. You flourished beneath the soil. And now the earth cannot hold your roots any longer. You are rising. The moment has been anointed. The timing has been cleared. The heavens are thundering and declaring, the preparation has done its work. Let the unveiling begin. So rise, child. Rise with the confidence of one who knows that nothing was wasted. You are not coming out weak. You are emerging with a roar of heaven on your lips and the fragrance of fire-tested faith surrounding your every step. This is not a consolation prize. This is divine compensation. And it begins now. My beloved child, I need you to hear me clearly. What you survived was not ordinary. What you face, few could have endured without breaking. But you didn't just wait passively. You didn't just sit in silence and survive the stillness. You mastered the waiting. You danced in the drought. You built altars in empty places. You worshipped me not because your life made sense, but because your soul refused to let go of what it knew, that I am good, even when the days were not. The waiting didn't weaken you. It wove something eternal into the fabric of your faith. You walked through storms that screamed for you to quit, through battles that drained every drop of strength, but you kept choosing me. You clung to hope when it made no logical sense to hope. That kind of loyalty echoes through the halls of heaven. Let me say what no one else could see. You were walking through winds designed to tear you apart, but you held yourself together with the fragile threads of faith. And I saw it. You didn't crumble when the answers didn't come. You didn't fold when your expectations failed. You stood still when your soul wanted to run, and that stillness became your sword. The storms you endured didn't strip you. They steeled you. You were stretched, not shattered. You were wounded, not wasted. You weren't just surviving the season. You were mastering the mission within it. I watched as you turned down shortcuts that would have stolen your character. I watched you remain faithful while others faltered. You didn't follow the crowds, you followed the cloud. And that, child, is why I'm about to pour out something no one can fabricate or fake. And I need you to understand, what I'm giving you now isn't a pat on the back. It's not a small token of recognition. It's a holy reward for a sacred resilience. You didn't wait like a prisoner. You waited like a prophet. You stayed positioned. You kept building when it felt like nothing would grow. You kept sowing when the soil seemed dry. You kept believing when your heart felt brittle. That's mastery. That's what distinguishes you in the spirit realm. I saw you in the shadows, blessing me without breakthroughs, raising your hands with no signs, standing tall with a spine of surrender and a soul on fire. While others demanded answers, you deepened your roots. You trusted me when trust felt like torture. You endured not because you were stronger, but because you were surrendered. And that's what I bless. That's what I elevate. So, now, do not be surprised when what took years to build suddenly breaks open in a moment. Do not question when doors swing wide and eyes turn toward you, wondering how it happened so fast. They won't understand the price you paid in silence. They didn't see the nights you cried into your pillow, whispering my name like a lifeline. But I did. And now, everything you sowed in secret is coming forth in strength. You didn't just endure the weight. You mastered it. And now I am responding with miracles made for those who did not let go. Child, come close, because I need you to hear the truth that silences every accusation in your mind. I saw you, not just your prayers. I saw your pain. I watched the silent battles unfold inside your chest while you smiled in public and wept in private. I saw you question whether what I promised was still alive, whether I had changed my mind, whether the words once whispered over you had expired in the silence. But I want you to know this: I was never absent. I was never ignoring you. I wasn't pacing the heavens in hesitation. I was building. I was crafting something behind the curtain of time that was so precise, so specific, so sacred that I couldn't let you see it prematurely. If I had shown you too soon, you would have tried to touch it. If I had unveiled it before your heart was ready, you would have made an idol out of it. So I kept it hidden, not from you, but for you. Yes, child, I saw the wrestling, the nights you argued with faith and the mornings you woke up with a heart half empty, but still chose to believe. I know what it cost you to keep trusting. That wasn't weakness, it was war. Every doubt you laid at my feet was a weapon formed against fear. Every question was a conversation with me, and I received it with joy, not judgment. You thought your doubt disqualified you, but it didn't. It revealed that you still cared enough to ask, still believed enough to wonder, still hoped enough to hurt. I was never far. In fact, the times you felt the most abandoned were the very moments I was moving the most powerfully, just in a realm your eyes couldn't yet reach. I was preparing not just the promise, but the stage upon which the promise would shine. You see, I wasn't only building the blessing. I was building the backdrop. I was crafting circumstances that would align with the exact tone of your testimony. I was ensuring that when it came, it would be undeniable, that it would carry my fingerprint so clearly that no one could mistake it for coincidence. I didn't just want to answer you. I wanted to astonish you. I didn't want to satisfy you. I wanted to stun you. This isn't just fulfillment. It's the final act of a play that looked like it was about to close, but I was writing one last scene. You thought the curtains had dropped, but I was behind the veil, orchestrating an ending so divine that even your greatest fears will bow before it. So now, hear me, child. Stop wondering if the promise is still alive. It never died. It was just maturing in a hidden womb of glory. And now it's ready to breathe. I am bringing it to you, not in fragments but in fullness. Not in shadows, but in stunning light. You asked if I still remembered. And I respond today, not with just a yes but with manifestation. What I was building, I am now revealing. And what once looked invisible will soon become undeniable. Beloved, I have seen what others overlooked. I have listened in the silence, in the room where your tears fell unannounced, where your prayers slipped out through trembling lips that feared no one was listening. But I was there, not as a distant observer but as an intimate author. And child, I didn't let one drop of your sorrow go to waste. Every tear that ran down your face was not forgotten, not dismissed, not lost in the rush of time. It was gathered. I captured each one with care. I held them, not just to comfort you, but to use them as ink. Yes, ink. Holy ink. Ink that writes your next chapter with the authenticity of agony and the power of perseverance. Others write with ease. I write with experience. And what you lived through, those hidden heartbreaks, those silent struggles, those inner wars that left no bruises but buried wounds, that is what I dipped my pen into. You didn't know that I was scripting your next chapter while you thought your story had stalled. You assumed the pages had stopped turning because the noise faded and the applause disappeared. But I was still writing, slowly, deliberately, with eternal weight. You see, I do not write in a rush. I do not author lightly. I needed the ink of your honesty. I needed the raw, unrehearsed moments where you brought me your brokenness without filters. Because that is where the power lives. That's where the real beauty breathes, in the places of pain that you offered up like fragile glass, trusting I would hold it and not crush it. And I did. I held it all. And now, I have bound those tears into testimony. The next chapter begins not with an echo from the past, but with a declaration from heaven. This is the first line. What was hidden will now be honored. Child, turn the page with me. Don't cling to the chapter I just closed. It served its purpose. It tore. It trimmed. It tore things that needed to be removed. But now, this page is pure with promise. I'm writing in real time. No delays. No edits. The ink is still wet, and the sentence I'm writing next will become the moment that shifts everything. This is not poetic comfort. This is prophetic confirmation. What began in weeping will end in wonder. The very moments that made you question your worth will become the backdrop of glory that makes others marvel at your strength. But they will know the whole story. Only you and I will. Only we will remember the tears. And because of that, this chapter will be one that no one can plagiarize. It's yours. It's personal. It's pure. So breathe, beloved. Let the next line form with fire and favor. Let the newness find you. You are not entering a recycled rhythm. You're walking into a holy unveiling. I'm turning the page with purpose, with precision, with the echoes of your faith in my ears. And the next chapter begins now, not when you feel ready, but because I've declared it is time. Listen closely, child. There comes a time when heaven's voice no longer speaks in riddles, no longer moves in mystery, no longer whispers of a future someday far off in the distance. This is that time. This is that moment. No more delay. I am not dangling the promise in front of you like bait. I am not stretching the process to test you again. You have waited well. You have passed through the waters of refinement. And now the command has been issued. Release it. Deliver it. Deliver it now. The angels have heard it. The atmosphere has felt it. The time has shifted from waiting to receiving. You are not stuck in spiritual limbo. You are standing on the soil of sudden fulfillment. Let me be clear. What I am releasing into your life now does not resemble trickles. This is not a drip. This is a downpour. The kind that drenches everything. The kind that arrives unannounced but unmistakable. You've grown familiar with deferrals, answers postponed, doors nearly opening, opportunities almost landing. But this is different. This is undeniable. What you've longed for is not coming. It has arrived. It's already breathing in the spirit. You sense the pressure building, the urgency rising. That wasn't stress. That was spiritual labor. You were feeling the weight of what I was crowning into your life. Heaven has been from gestation to delivery. And the now is not optional. It is ordained. And here's what I want you to understand. When I say now, I mean it with the full weight of my eternal authority. Not now, if you're good enough. Not now, if everything looks perfect. Not now, if the conditions are favorable. I say now because your faith has held steady even when evidence was absent. I say now because your roots stayed deep when the surface remained dry. I say now because you dared to trust when everyone else was settling. And so I break the chains of delay. I shatter the power of hesitation. I silence the voice of deferment that said, maybe later, maybe never. I am the God of immediacy when the hour is right. And child, the hour is right. Not rushed, not random, but right. So step out of the holding pattern. Refuse to rehearse old prayers of desperation when I've already written new declarations of destiny. Say yes to the moment without suspicion. Receive without guilt. Expect without fear. The delay has expired. The deferral has been dismissed. And the when you used to ask is now replaced with a here it is. I'm not promising you another day far off. I'm delivering in the present, wrapped in glory, sealed with favor, and stamped with the signature of right now. Child, the burden you bore was not born of punishment. It was born of purpose. You saw it as heaviness, an invisible boulder pressing on your chest, fatigue that wrapped itself around your mornings, weariness that lingered through your nights. But what you carried, though it felt unbearable at times, was never meaningless. It was sacred. It was holy. You were not merely surviving stress, you were stewarding sacredness. You thought you were just trying to keep your head above the waves, but I saw you carrying a mantle in silence. The world couldn't see it. Friends didn't recognize it. Even your own reflection couldn't explain it. But I could, because I was the one who placed it on you, not to crush you, but to consecrate you. The weight didn't define your weakness, it defined your worthiness. I chose you to carry what others would have dropped. I assigned you a season that looked like pressure but was, in reality, preparation. And yes, I know it didn't feel divine. I know it felt like agony. I know there were moments when you questioned whether I had forgotten you entirely. But what you carried in secret was more than sorrow. It was the seabed of glory. You bore what the eyes of man dismissed. You carried what only heaven could see. And now, my beloved, hear this. The weight is shifting. Not disappearing, but transforming. What once bowed your back is about to lift your name. What once felt like a burden is about to break open into beauty. A weight is not leaving you. It's changing form. It's becoming evidence of glory. Let me be clear, child. I don't erase burdens. I redeem them. I don't dismiss pain, I display it in purpose. The oil that is about to pour from your life was crushed for moments no one applauded. And now, I am taking what bowed your head and placing it on your shoulders as authority. You are not walking away from the weight. You are being crowned by it. What you carried has earned a sound in the spirit realm. The angels know it. Heaven has recorded it. The earth is about to witness it. When you step into the next room, don't be surprised when people sense something they can't explain. It's the aroma of weight turned to worship. It's the fragrance of fire past and favor released. The heaviness you once tried to pray away is the very thing that made you heavy with revelation. You're not coming out empty. You're not stepping into this next season as someone who barely survived. No, child. You are entering as one who was forged in secret, refined in silence, and now walks clothed in glory. And the weight, oh, the weight, is becoming your witness. Watch how I use it. Watch how I reveal it. Watch how I multiply it. The world saw pressure. I see power. And it's time they see it too. I need you to hear me clearly now. Cut through the noise of comparison, the whispers of inferiority, the ache of perceived abandonment, and receive this truth straight from my heart. I did not forget you. I did not pass you by. I did not skip your name while others walked into blessings. I wasn't blessing them instead of you. I was preparing something for you that required more than a moment. It required maturity. You saw others flourish. You watched people receive quick answers, loud victories, public celebration. And yes, it made you wonder if I had missed you. But child, what I have been reserving for you cannot be compared to what came quickly for others. That comes fast fades fast. But what is preserved in secret speaks forever. I was not ignoring your cries. I was inscribing your reward in a place too deep for applause to reach. You asked me for something real, something lasting, something holy. And that's exactly what I was forming. You thought I was withholding blessing, but I was constructing legacy. I wasn't preparing a moment of validation, I was crafting a movement of vindication. The thing I've reserved for you doesn't require a crowd to clap. It carries my voice, and my voice alone can break chains. My voice alone can open doors. My voice alone can vindicate your waiting. And what I'm about to reveal in your life is going to speak louder than applause and settle deeper than any compliment. Let's talk about the silence for a moment, because I know how loud it was. Yes, loud silence. A deep, echoing space where you felt like everyone else had their turn. You felt overlooked, unseen, forgotten. But I saw the whole thing. I saw you celebrate others while you wept in private. I saw you clap for those who got what you prayed for. I saw you stay loyal when others walked in ease. And I took note. Heaven recorded your restraint. The Spirit bore witness to your reverence. You didn't just wait, you worshipped while you waited. You didn't just endure. You honored my timing when your own clock was screaming. That's not small to me. It is everything. And now, I will honor it not with whispers, but with wonders. So get ready, not for a response that looks like theirs, but for one that resembles your obedience. I don't reward according to noise. I reward according to nuance. What I've reserved for you isn't recycled. It isn't repackaged. It's custom. It's calculated. It's clean. It's called by your name. And when it comes, it won't just soothe your soul. It will silence your enemies. It will not just restore your hope. It will rewrite your story. I'm not answering you with applause. I'm responding with awe. Because I did not forget you. I was perfecting what no one else was patient enough to wait for. Child, you've stood before this door so long you started to question whether it even had a handle. You've knocked with hope, then knocked again with hesitation. You've whispered through the cracks, cried into the silence behind it, even leaned your tired forehead against its cold resistance. And still, it did not open. But here is what I need you to understand now, with a reverence that shakes the air around you. This door is not stuck. It's sealed by my timing, and that seal has just been broken, not by your strength, not by your strategy, but by my sovereign decree. You were never meant to pry it open. You were never meant to break it down. Because, child, this door was never yours to push. It was mine to blow wide open. And that's exactly what I'm doing. No creak, no sliver, no slow swinging motion to test your patience further. Oh, I am blowing this door off its hinges. When I move with might. When I open with awe. This is the kind of entrance that leaves no fingerprints but mine. The kind that leaves witnesses speechless, not because of what you did, but because of what I did through you. You will not have to explain how it opened. You will not have to justify why it's happening now. Because this move is drenched in divinity. The hinges are flying off. The air is rushing in. What you once called barrier will now become a backdrop for my glory. Let's be honest, child. There were moments when you almost walked away. When you told yourself, maybe it's not my door. Maybe it's not my time. But I kept you close, tethered to trust. I never mocked your hope. I was strengthening it. When you were waiting, I was reinforcing the frame on the other side. The threshold you're crossing now has been reinforced with steel you cannot see. Because what's on the other side of this door isn't fragile, it's fortified. I didn't want you stepping into something unstable. I waited until everything aligned, until the atmosphere was ripe, until the angels were ready. And now I blow it open, not with hesitation, but with heaven's full authority. So walk through boldly, not with fear, not with a flint, but with fire. Because when I open a door like this, it doesn't lead to another hallway of hope deferred. It leads into holy ground, tailored, timed, and trembling with promise. You won't need a key. You won't need permission. This is your entry point into what no one thought would ever open. And they'll ask how it happened. But you and I will know. I blew the hinges off with my breath, and you walked through as one marked by miracles. Child, as you step into this moment of divine release, I invite you to sow where the soil is holy. This word isn't just for you. It's meant to reach thousands more, and I've chosen you to help carry it like fire on the wind. The Lord gives the word. The company of women and men who proclaim it are a mighty army. Psalm 68:11. That army includes you now. You are not giving to a video. You are fueling the harvest. Every seed you plant carries the oil of breakthrough for someone still trapped in delay. This is your chance to be part of a divine acceleration, to say, yes, God, use me to spread what has delivered me. So through super thanks, membership, or the link I've placed beneath this video. Don't wait. Give now, and I will multiply your gift like loaves and fish in the hands of my Son. Lean in now, child. Feel the pulse of what's happening in this moment, not just around you, but within you. This isn't coincidence. This isn't random fortune or spiritual luck. This is culmination. This is the crescendo of everything I've whispered over you in secret and cultivated in silence. The hour has arrived. The one I etched into eternity long before you took your first breath. The moment where your preparation collides with the manifestation of my promise. The moment where your unseen obedience meets your undeniable outpouring. You are not drifting into destiny. You are divinely positioned in it. You've been walking the path of perseverance, wondering if the steps still mattered. You've been gathering pieces in the dark, hoping they formed a picture. I tell you now, they do. Every prayer, every fast, every no one else saw, every yes whispered through tears, every seed sown in ground, you all mattered. This moment is not showing up by accident. It is responding to the echo of your preparation. I delayed what you asked for, not because you weren't ready to receive, but because the promise wasn't ready to rest. It needed to arrive at an hour where it could take root and multiply. And now, that hour has found you. Let's name it for what it is, appointed. This is not bara breakthrough. This is not a blessing that fell off someone else's table. This is crafted culmination. The gathering of every thread I've been weaving. I didn't just deliver your promise. I designed it for this moment. Heaven has kept it, preserved it untouched, unspoiled by premature hands. While you questioned whether anything was happening, I was creating a convergence that no calendar could predict. The stars couldn't name it. The clock couldn't count it. But I called it into being. And now, Child, it's here. It's unfolding. It's unstoppable. Do not dilute what's happening. Do not brush this off as timing. Do not label it as luck. This is not coincidence. It is culmination. I am bringing together everything the enemy tried to scatter. I'm fusing the fragments into a fortress. I'm gathering the years of silence and turning them into symphonies. You've stepped into the hour where your steps are no longer rehearsals. They are revelation. You're not approaching the season. You've arrived. And now, watch how I work. Watch how I redeem time. Watch how I unravel the mystery, not to confuse you, but to crown you. This is not just a fulfillment. It is a divine finish line that leads into a fresh beginning. You are not late. You are right on time, because I've called this hour appointed, and I've called you to walk in it. Child, pause with me here. Let's revisit the battleground that nearly broke you. Because I need you to understand this with holy clarity. The resistance wasn't random. The pressure wasn't punishment. The warfare wasn't miscalculation, it was confirmation. The enemy saw this moment approaching before your human eyes could perceive it. He saw the glow beginning to rise from your spirit. He saw the gates trembling. He saw heaven's hand stretching out in your direction. And it terrified him. Because the enemy doesn't fight what isn't threatening. He doesn't launch attacks against apathy. He wages war where there's weight. And child, you carry weight. The battle's intensified because your alignment with destiny became sharper. He knew what was forming before you did. While you thought you were fighting for survival, he knew you were fighting for birthing. The tears you cried weren't just emotional. They were the contractions of something about to be born. He launched confusion, delays, distractions, disillusionment, anything to distort your sight. Anything to make you believe the lie that this was just another season, just another stretch of sorrow. But it wasn't. It was the final push before divine unveiling. And though he roared loud, you didn't break. You didn't bend past the point of no return. You stood even with shaking knees. And in doing so, you shattered his schemes and stepped into the very moment he dreaded. And now look at where you are. You've survived what was meant to silence you. You stood up in a storm that should have suffocated your faith. And now the one thing the enemy feared the most is staring him in the face. A child of God who didn't back down. A promise that's been fully activated. A calling that's been refined by fire. You're not just here. You're here in power. And no scheme, no word curse, no delay, no setback can override what I've ordained. The enemy's fear was never about your weakness. It was about your willingness. Your willingness to believe me even when nothing made sense. Your willingness to hold on when every voice said, let go. That, child, is what made the war so vicious. And that's also what made your victory so complete. So walk with awareness now, not in paranoia, but in purpose. Because when heaven promotes, hell protests. But protests don't prevent promises. I've already declared the outcome. And what you're stepping into is not fragile. It's fireproof. You are walking into territory the enemy tried to block because he saw what I placed in you long ago. And now, what he feared is here. You, standing, appointed, and anointed for such a time as this. And now listen, beloved, with the ears of your spirit wide open. You are not waiting anymore because I am not waiting anymore. The stillness that once surrounded you has lifted. The tension that gripped your days like fog has broken. The unseen hand of divine restraint hath been lifted. Heaven is no longer watching in quiet observation. Heaven is moving. Dispatch had been declared. The rhythm of release has begun, and nothing can reverse what hath been set into motion. The angels who stood poised for so long have now leapt into action. The atmosphere is not hesitant. It is humming with holy movement. You see, child, I do not shift without purpose. When I say something is on its way, it is not poetic. It is precise. The declarations I've spoken over you in private, the whispers you've clung to like a lifeline, they are no longer suspended in the spiritual realm. They are on the move. Like arrows loosed from my bow, they are flying swiftly toward their target. Your name is not just in my mouth. It's been written into my movement. Every delay that once held your promise hostage has now been silenced. Not with noise, but with authority. This isn't a maybe. It's a mandate. The time for waiting has concluded because I myself have stepped forward. And don't think for 1 second that you missed it. Don't let the enemy lie to you with whispers of regret or shame or what if. No, child. You are exactly where I need you to be. Right place. Right posture. Right hour. You thought your waiting was about time. But I tell you, it was about alignment. I was aligning people. Aligning positions. Aligning events. And even opposition to bow before the fulfillment. And now, the alignment is complete. The gears of heaven are turning. The wheels within wheels are spinning. What was once static is now in divine sync, and it's all headed your direction. Not just one thing. Everything I assigned to you. Let that sink in. Not scraps. Not samples. Not someday. Everything I assigned to you is on its way. The promises you thought were lost. The answers you forgot to hope for. The favor that felt foreign. The restoration that seemed impossible. It's not trickling toward you. It's thundering in your direction. Not delayed. Not damaged. Delivered. I'm not waiting, and neither are you. This is forward motion, fueled by my voice, sealed by my blood, and sustained by your faith. Stand up, child. This is not waiting season anymore. This is walking season. Start walking, because what I assigned to you is running toward you. Come here, child. Closer. I know you've been haunted by the feeling that maybe you missed something, missed the moment, missed the turn, missed the signal. I've seen you replay past decisions in your mind like a broken reel, wondering if one misstep routed your entire destiny. I've heard your quiet confessions. Maybe I didn't move fast enough. Maybe I hesitated too long. Maybe I waited too little, or too much. But let me speak now with authority that silences every lie. You didn't miss it. Not only that, but you were never even close to losing it. Because while you were second-guessing yourself, I was preserving the promise. You see, child, my timing isn't fragile. It doesn't shatter under your human hesitation. My purposes don't dissolve because you doubted for a day or delayed for a moment. I'm not that small. I'm not that conditional. I don't write your destiny in pencil. I write it in fire. So let me tell you what really happened. What looked like delay from your vantage point was actually divine protection from mine. I was holding back the curtain, not because you weren't ready to see, but because what was behind the curtain wasn't yet safe for your soul. If I had exposed it prematurely, it would have excited you, yes, but it also would have exhausted you. If I had opened the opportunity you longed for before your roots were deep enough, it would have withered in the glare of expectation. So I waited. Not to punish, but to preserve. Let me paint the picture clearer. Imagine a priceless gift, delicate and sacred, being guarded in a vault of heavenly timing. That's what I was doing. Not hiding it from you, guarding it for you. And now, the moment is here. The vault is opening. The seal is breaking. and what you thought was forfeited is flowing directly toward you. Not damaged, not diminished, but divinely preserved. And here's the part that will make you tremble. What I'm bringing you now will be better than what you once prayed for. Because while you were waiting, the promise grew in value. While you were maturing, it was multiplying. You didn't lose it. You gained depth. You gained discernment. You gained the wisdom to now walk into the very thing you once feared you forfeited. To shake off the shame. Burn the blueprint of regret. I've not only kept your promise safe, I've custom fitted it to your current strength. You thought the delay disqualified you, but child, it distinguished you. And now, you'll walk into what no one else could walk into. Because I preserved it. For you. For this moment. For this unveiling. And when you step into it, you'll know the wait wasn't punishment. It was protection soaked in purpose. And now listen to me carefully, beloved. You've been faithful in the shadows. You've honored me in silence. You've held onto your call when no one was watching, when no one was cheering, when no one even noticed. But I did. I saw you. I saw the late nights where you prayed instead of panicked. I saw you serve others while secretly carrying your own pain. You didn't do it for recognition. You didn't do it for reward. You did it because you believed, even if only barely, that I was still working behind the scenes. And now, child, I'm stepping onto the stage. But not alone. I'm calling you forward. What's coming next will be subtle. This is not a quiet restoration. This is not a soft pat on the back for surviving the storm. This is not me handing you a gentle answer behind closed doors. No, this is public revelation. This is heaven's spotlight swinging your way. This is my voice thundering, look what I've done. Not to glorify your pain, but to glorify my process. Not to inflate you, but to illuminate me through you. I didn't hide you to punish you. I hid you to prepare you for public unveiling. I covered you while I carved you. I protected you while I purified you. And now, your name is being called, not by man but by me. You'll walk into rooms that once overlooked you. You'll be invited into spaces where your name was never mentioned before. And when they ask, where did you come from? You'll smile with holy fire in your eyes and say, I was with God in the wilderness. Because that's where you were, being built in silence, shaped in stillness. And now, the revelation is resounding. I'm not just lifting you. I'm launching you. And the launch won't be low-key. It will be luminous. It will be loud, not with arrogance, but with authority. You won't need to force it. You won't need to fake it. My glory will announce it. This is your moment of emergence. And I'm not just restoring what was lost. I'm revealing who you are. Not the version that survived. The version I saw from the beginning. The version shaped by fire but not consumed. The version scarred but sealed in strength. I'm not only giving back what was stolen. I'm displaying my masterpiece for all to see. The same way I raised Lazarus in public. The same way I fed 5,000 in public. The same way I rolled away the stone in public. I am revealing you in public. Not for ego, but for evidence. You are evidence that I am faithful, that I am true, that I finish what I start. So prepare. Not for secrecy, but for stage. Because your obedience in the quiet has offered a moment of undeniable glory. And what's next will not whisper, it will witness. You've looked at calendars. You've watched seasons shift. You've tracked timing like a watchman scanning the horizon, hoping the next moment would be the one. And somewhere in the fatigue of the waiting, a fear began to whisper, maybe the window has closed. Maybe the opportunity has passed. But child, hear me now. I didn't ask you to look for the window. I created you as the window. You are the vessel I've chosen. You are the frame through which my glory is about to shine. I didn't design you to stare longingly at what's coming through someone else's life. I've anointed you to be the conduit, the opening, the access point between heaven and earth for something never before seen. Let that revelation pierce the fog. You are not on the outside looking in. You are on the inside being poured out. And that's why the process felt so pressing. That's why the warfare clung so tightly. Because the enemy wasn't trying to just delay your breakthrough. He was trying to dim your visibility. He was terrified that you'd wake up and realize the oil I've placed in you wasn't for a someday. It was for a no day. And here it is. The time has come. I'm not just opening doors around you. I'm opening you. I'm opening your voice, your influence, your insight, your revelation, your anointing. And what's been stored within the silence of your story is about to pour out like wildfire. Do you feel the pressure shifting? That's the internal lid lifting. That's the holy release beginning to break forth. The very parts of you that once felt hidden, overlooked, misunderstood, I'm now using as highways of my spirit. You've prayed for me to move, and I will, but I will move through you. You are the window, child, and I'm not just shining through your victories. I'm radiating through your scars. I'm releasing revelation through the very places you once tried to hide. This outpouring will not be neat. It will not be predictable. It will be pure. And people will feel it, not just hear it. They'll sense something shift when you speak, when you move, when you enter the room. Because I'm opening you to heaven's flow. This isn't small. This isn't symbolic. This is strategic. You didn't miss the window because you are the window. You were made to frame this move. You were built to carry this brilliance. And now, my spirit is rushing through every place you thought was hollow. You're not waiting for another chance. You are the chance. You're not hoping to be used. You are the vessel. And I say now, open wide, child. Heaven is pouring through you. Let's talk about the no's. Those moments where your heart dropped. Where you thought, surely, this is it. But it wasn't. The door closed. The relationship ended. The opportunity disappeared. And the silence that followed rang louder than any rejection. You assumed I was denying you. You whisper, God, did I do something wrong? And child, I wept with you in that space, because I knew what you couldn't yet see. I wasn't saying no to punish you. I was saying not yet to protect you. I was holding back what you asked for because I had something far deeper in mind, sustainability, not just satisfaction. You've been trained to equate blessing with immediacy. If it comes fast, it must be favor. If it takes long, it must be judgment. But that's not how I work. I am not the God of rush. I am the God of rootedness. I don't hand out flimsy fulfillment that crumbles under pressure. I give lasting overflow. And the reason I delayed what you asked for was because I was crafting something not only to bless you in the moment, but to sustain you for the mission. You don't just need a yes that feels good. You need a yes that holds you steady when storms come. And that's what I've been building. Every no you cried over was clearing space for a yes that's about to redefine your life. I know you didn't understand it then, but you will now. Because what I'm releasing isn't just going to make you happy, it's going to make you whole. It's going to feed the deepest parts of your spirit. It's going to last when applause fades. It's going to remain when the lights dim. This is not a bandage. This is a blueprint. This is a yes rooted in heaven's soil. And you will feel it. Not just in your circumstances, but in your core. Peace will flood you before the promise even fully arrives, because your spirit will know, this is the yes I was really waiting for. So look again, child. Look again at those closed doors, not with bitterness, but with blessed perspective, because every no was really my hand moving you closer to a yes designed to endure. I wasn't teasing you. I wasn't torturing you. I was tailoring what I knew would be enough, not just for your moment, but for your mission. And now, that yes is here, the wait wasn't wasted. The pain wasn't pointless. You are stepping into the kind of promise that doesn't just make you say, finally. It makes you say, Father, only you could have done this. Beloved, you must know by now, I have heard you. Not just in the obvious moments, not just in the loud prayers or the corporate gatherings, but in the quietest cries, in the trembling moments when you could barely form a sentence, in the exhausted sighs you didn't even call a prayer, in the midnight hours when you didn't speak out loud, but your soul screamed silently for me to move. I heard all of it, and not one syllable slipped past me. I didn't just hear, I held. I didn't just acknowledge, I stored. Every word, every plea, every breathless please God was caught by me like sacred oil. I placed them in the bowl that sits before my throne, and child, that bowl is full. What you didn't know was that your words were not vanishing into the air. They were collecting, gathering, compounding in spiritual gravity. They were becoming a fragrance, a force, a fire in the spirit realm. And I've watched as your prayers grew in weight, saturated with your tears, your faith, your longing, your surrender. You thought nothing was happening, but something was. The bowl was tipping. Every day you stayed faithful. Every time you returned to me in trust. Every time you chose to believe again, even while broken. That obedience didn't just strengthen you, it shifted the balance of heaven. And now, child, the tipping point has come. Do you feel it in the atmosphere? That pressure building in places you can't name. That internal urgency that doesn't come from anxiety, but from alignment. That's the bowl beginning to pour. That's heaven responding. That's me, tipping everything you've ever offered, ever prayed, ever released, back onto your life in waves of fulfillment. This is not a drizzle of answers. It's a deluge. It will touch areas you forgot you prayed about. It will pour into corners of your life that have been dry for so long, you stopped expecting moisture. But I remember. I never forgot. And I repay in fullness, not in fragments. I honor every syllable, not just the most spiritual sounding ones. So prepare yourself, not for a repeat, but for a rain. Not for residue, but for overflow. Your prayers weren't lost. They were loading. And now, what was stored in sacred silence is being shouted in sudden release. When the bowl tips, it doesn't trickle, it floods. Watch as I flood your life with what your heart barely dared to believe was still coming. Watch as I answer, not according to your timeline, but according to my promise. This is the sound of answered prayer, not the noise of striving, but the sum of saturation. And child, this song was written with your name on every line. Child, lift your eyes now. Not just your physical eyes, but the eyes of your spirit. Because I'm not reviving a past season. I'm not trying to return you to what once was. I'm not digging up old wells or rewinding a previous rhythm. I'm doing something new. Utterly, gloriously, undeniably new. And you must prepare yourself for the shock of it. Because it won't resemble the last thing I did. It won't fit the framework you've been familiar with. This next move will not echo what was. It will announce what is to come. Do not mistake my silence for a rewind. I haven't been crafting restoration in the form you remember. I've been building revelation in a form you've never even imagined. The waiting wasn't for me to fix the old. It was for me to form the new. And child, it's here. It's upon you. I've been shaping something that doesn't have a precedent. What you're stepping into has no blueprint from your past. You'll be tempted to compare, to say, is this like the time you moved before? But I'll whisper in reply, no, this is greater. This is different. This is destiny redesigned. And it will stretch you. Because new requires release. You'll have to release the version of you that was only built for survival. You'll have to let go of patterns that were designed for the wilderness, not the promised land. You'll have to step out of familiarity, even if it was formed in faith. Because this new thing doesn't just ask for your belief. It demands your boldness. I won't lead you into what's next with timid steps. I will pull you with power, with vision, with clarity, with conviction. You've been praying for me to revive what died. But I say to you, why resurrect a shadow when I've written a new sunrise? What's next is not just an upgrade. It's an unveiling. You will walk in rooms that didn't exist last year. You'll carry anointing that couldn't have rested on your shoulders in the past. You'll speak with a clarity born not of books, but of battles. And when you look around, you won't recognize your surroundings, but you will recognize my hand all over it. Because I've gone ahead. I've carved the way. And now, the fresh thing I promised in whispers is rising in wonders. You're not returning. You're revealing. You're not recycling. You're rising. What I've prepared for you has never been lived before, because it was made for you alone. Come closer, child. There's something you've wrestled with quietly, something the enemy has used to wear down your confidence. It's this lie that says you still have to prove yourself, that your breakthrough depends on flawless obedience, perfect presentation, non-stop spiritual hustle. You've been trying to get it right so the promise can finally land. But hear me now with thunderous compassion. This next blessing will not come through performance. It will come through identity. You don't have to earn what I've already given. You only need to embrace who I've always said you are. You've mistaken movement for merit. You've tried to do more, thinking it would make you more worthy. You've rehearsed apologies in your heart. You've replayed your stumbles like a broken record, worried they've disqualified you from destiny. But child, your identity was never rooted in your perfection. It was rooted in my proclamation. I called you chosen before you ever chose me. I called you holy before you understood holiness. I placed greatness inside of you before your gifts were even discovered. And now, what I'm releasing into your life is not a reward for performance. It is the fruit of identity alignment. You've entered the place where blessings don't come because you hustled harder. They come because you finally believe who I say you are. When you step into that kind of revelation, the gates swing wide. Not because you forced them open, but because you stood up in your real name. Not the label shame tried to give you. Not the version of yourself you edited to be acceptable. I'm blessing the authentic you, the one I saw before the world touched you.